Hello Crows, in case you were not aware, there was a new game showcase last week presenting the latest and potentially greatest video games to be excited for. All hand chosen by a group of influential content creators. The name of it being NewGameShowcase. Hey, if it works, it works. Today we're going to talk about the games I discovered from the show. I'll be providing some constructive criticism on the presentation itself, and I want to talk about the value and potential a show like this has. First off, we have Deep Dish Dungeon, a co-op dungeon delving game complete with a voxel retro style and a dungeon meshy inspired gameplay. You delve into dungeons, you cook delicious meals, and you try your best not to die along the way. I love cooking in real life, I love cooking in video games, and now I get to do it with my friends. I'll definitely be playing this one down the road. Secondly, we have Vahrin's Call, a third-person action-adventure RPG with a world and combat style that reminds me very strongly of the first Fable. This spinning axe tornado of death has 100% sold this game to me, by the way. I am typically a mage, but that is selling this hard to me. It's quirky, it's colorful, it's fun, and you can tell there is some heart into it. I especially love how there are unique crafting stations and animations for different things you're crafting and upgrading. It would have been far easier and altogether cheaper to just do a menu and click a button. Having you see these different stations is a really nice touch and something I greatly appreciate. Thirdly, we have Exekiller. This game is such a vibe. You're driving around in this post-apocalyptic world completing bounties. How you complete contracts is up to you, guns blazing or sneak around. I'm sure all of that gameplay is fun, but what has my complete attention is the car. I want to feel the vibe of just cruising through the world with the radio on and the windows down. I'm all here for it. Up next is DuskFade. This is a 3D action platformer that is giving me strong early PlayStation 2 vibes, especially Kingdom Hearts. When this kid is going to grab the hilt of that sword, my whole brain shouted, "That's a Keyblade right there!" I'm going to have to give this game a look. And last but not least is Project Shadowglass, a love letter to the games of yore. This is more of an experimental project than a straight up video game. That said, the pivot from experiment to game is planned for, and I am looking forward to what is built from what they learn and create. Now, those were a few games that stood out to me personally. Of course, there were some more flashy games that enticed me, Crimson Desert, The Expanse, Osiris Reborn, naturally. However, these 5 seem to be doing something special for me, and I think I narrowed down what it is. Nostalgia. I'm craving something new, but with a familiar taste. Flavors that haven't graced my palate in decades. I think this is what these games are going to achieve. Moving on to the topic of the presentation itself, I think there was a bit of a communication issue. It seemed for most people watching it, they were expecting nothing but trailers and gameplay vids, maybe a little commentary. Although if you watch Luke Stevens' vids leading up to it, he does say that there is some conversations about what we are seeing. I don't know what the other 4 creators have said about it though. In fact, I had no idea who they were until now, and that's not a slight, by the way. I'm just saying that the conversation about who all was involved and what the expectations should be could have started a little earlier. Because remember, this is just a bunch of content creators. Very successful content creators, I'll give them that, but still content creators on YouTube. Marketing for something like the Game Awards or Summer Game Fest is different. Everyone knows these things, and anyone paying $1 million to be in those things are going to get people hyped for it also. When you're relying on the YouTube algorithm and your channel members, then you should really only expect maybe 10% of that word of mouth to travel. And you have to be really clear about what the expectations are. Otherwise, 70% of the people watching your show are going to be like, I thought this was going to be different. The main criticism I see from others is that the content creators involved should have just done the trailers, gameplay vids, and interviews, and that they should have just cut the couch conversations. Personally, I think the show could have been cut in half. A couple hours of gameplay vids and trailers being the main showcase, and then like an after party, where they can have the interviews along with the content creator commentary, because I can see the value in both of those things. However, I can also kind of see the criticism. If I'm ordering a chicken quesadilla from Taco Bell, I don't care what the cashier has to say about it. I might like the cashier, I might be friends with them, I might even be interested in what the cashier has to say. But in that moment, my only concern is getting that quesadilla. We can talk all about it after it's in my mouth. I went into the show not really expecting anything, so I ended up leaving it happier than what I anticipated. I'm not saying that was the correct way to go about it, but I mean, it was a first time presentation showcase kind of thing from these people. I'm willing to grant them the leniency. My main worry was that this was just going to be a content creator fluff fest. That this was going to be an extremely opinionated and back of the seat driving kind of performance, but happily that was not the case. The commentary was focused on providing clarity on what the games are and how they feel. And overall, it accomplished what it wanted to do, at least for me. Their mission was to make people aware of games they may not know anything about, because sometimes those games don't have the money to market like the big leagues. I had no idea about Deep Dish Dungeon. I've heard nothing about Vahrin's Call. I've seen nothing from Exekiller, and I've heard nothing from DuskFade. Even though all of these games are exactly games I'd love to play. So I hope there's another new game showcase. I see the value in content creators doing this kind of thing. In fact, I hope more groups of content creators do other things similar to it. There are many different types of games out there. Marketing for games is extremely expensive. And the traditional mainstream journalism seems to be more interested in hot topic headlines, rather than spotlighting games that need the help. As a game design student and working indie dev myself, I see the value in things like this. Given how the job market is for the industry, there is a very real possibility, an extremely likely possibility, that I'm not going straight to work for a studio when I graduate. I will have to rely on my own projects to make a name for myself, and creator-led shows like New Game Plus, where my project can be included purely on excitement, will be such an invaluable component to the release and continued growth of the game I'm working on. Thank you for watching the video. How did you like the New Game Showcase? Was it a hit or was it a bust for you? Let me know down below. I hope this is a thing that continues for many more years ahead. And I look forward to one day presenting my game from there, if I'm provided the opportunity. Until then though, be safe, be well, be kind, bye-bye.